Welcome back to the Mutrux Firm Injury Lawyers podcast. Today we are going to talk about hit and run car crashes and who pays for your medical treatment and who pays for your damages. We talked in more detail in general about hit and run car crashes and what to do afterwards because it can be kind of confusing, but today we're specifically going to talk about what to do when it comes to paying for medical treatment and paying for your damages. This is where it gets a little bit complicated because you've got someone that you don't even know in many instances who hit you. You've been incapacitated, and all you know is that you've been in a crash. And usually, you know that you weren't at fault. It's not always the case, and if you are at fault, then you can't recover. I'm just going to put that out there right away. If you're at fault for the crash, you're gonna have to either pay for your own medical bills or your health insurance is gonna pay for them if you have medical payments coverage. So we'll start with that. If you have medical payments coverage, doesn't matter if you're at fault. That's why I always recommend that you get it. Medical payments coverage is usually it's between $1,000 and $20,000 in coverage. You can get more than that. It's just a matter of how much you want to pay for. It's a fairly cheap auto insurance. That's why we advise people to add that onto their policies because for what you get for it, it's pretty good. And you can actually double dip in Missouri. Illinois, not so much. They can what I mean by that is they can subrogate. So the insurance company can go back and get reimbursed for it. So in Missouri, you can get paid by the at fault parties insurance and then also get the med pay. You can double dip. It's because that's what you pay for. That is the insurance that you pay for, which is really good. It's a great benefit. So that's one thing that you can do to pay for your medical treatment. Doesn't pay for your damages. It only pays for your medical treatment when it comes to medical payments coverage. The other thing is that people don't realize this. Everyone in the state of Missouri has uninsured motorist coverage as long as they have auto insurance. It's built into your policy. And most states in the country have that same thing built in. So make sure you know that. So then you're probably wondering, well, how do we get to uninsured motorist coverage whenever it's a hit and run driver? We don't know if they had insurance. Well, it's then assumed that because it's a hit and run crash, they've left, that they don't have insurance. It's called phantom driver coverage. So that's what it's called. If you Google phantom driver, you're going to see things like that come up. It's more of a legal term, but that's how that works. And in uninsured motorist coverage uh, is covered it covers phantom drivers. A really important thing to know if you are in a hit and run crash in the state of Missouri. Now, there's a couple of caveats that I want you to know about. In Illinois, there's case law that says that you've got to show some sort of contact between the vehicles. Missouri doesn't have that. And that's really important in the state of Missouri. What that means is, let's say that someone uh, ran you off the road. So they swerve over and you're being a proactive driver. So you go to avoid that collision. And in the process, you either hit another vehicle or in the process you run into a guardrail or you flip your vehicle or you spin around. You don't need to have any sort of contact between the other driver. Now, what you do need is proof that there was another vehicle. That proof can come from your mouth. So proof can come from you. Now, if you're not a very trustworthy person, that could be some problems for you because they could try to show that you're dishonest and that it never really happened and that you're the sole cause of it. If you're a trustworthy person, it's not as big of a deal. Now, you also got to remember, if this went to a jury trial, we're also going to be arguing against an insurance company. And that's why we actually like arguing against insurance companies in court because usually we're not allowed to mention insurance unless it is an uninsured motorist or an underinsured motorist claim because we've actually sued the insurance company in that case. In those cases, when you've sued an at fault party, even though they've got insurance coverage, we're not allowed to mention insurance during the entire trial. It's extremely frustrating, but that's just how the law works. And whenever you are arguing, so let's say your case does go to trial, it's an uninsured motorist case because someone ran you off the road, we're allowed to argue against that insurance company. So your trustworthiness is not as big of a deal. It's always a big deal. We want to make sure that our clients are honest people and that they're telling us the truth. But you're arguing against an insurance company instead of an individual, it's a little bit easier on our part because a lot of people don't like insurance companies unless they work for them. That's just how it works. And that's why they spend billions of dollars on cute little TV and radio commercials to make you like them because they're not likable because they try not to pay whenever possible. But so the point of all this though is you've got uninsured motorist coverage. That's something that will pay for not only your medical bills, but it'll also pay for pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is included in uninsured motorist coverage. Okay, so make sure you know that. That's important. MedPay will only pay for the medical bills that you incur. And then the last one, this is an obvious one. If you've got health insurance, you've got Medicaid, Medicare, those sorts of things will also pay for your medical treatment. Something you want to know about though, that the Medicare, Medicaid, and your health insurance will all want to be paid back. Now, that means that, and they don't pay the full amount. So let's say that the medical bills are $10,000. They usually pay a fraction of that, and they'll want to get paid back the fraction that they pay. Health insurance only gets paid back if it's an ERISA lien. It's a really, really important thing. ERISA. It's an ERISA lien. And I've gone into the details of what ERISA is in in other videos. It's not necessarily even a lien. It's a right to reimbursement is what it is, but we commonly refer to it as a lien. It's technically not true, but it's what we refer to it as. But that's another way to pay for your medical treatment. So don't pay back your health insurance provider just because they say that they want to be reimbursed on a regular basis. We have this standard letter that we send them. We say, well, you need to prove to us that you are an ERISA provider. And many times they're not able to do that and they withdraw their interest in the case. So don't just do it because they tell you, make them show you. That's really, really important. So the things that can pay for your medical treatment, your pain and suffering, remember medical bills, med pay, uninsured motorist coverage. It also covers your pain and suffering damages, and then also your health insurance. So those are the things that can pay for your medical bills and for your damages in a personal injury car crash when there's a hit and run involved. If you have any other questions, give us a call, 888-550-4026. Feel free to text us, 314-668-2001, 314-668-2001. We're happy to answer any of your questions. You can also go to asklawyertyson.com, submit your questions there, and we will get to them as soon as we can. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you.